Welcome into this episode of In the Goal here on the SFBN. We'll have some great coverage of boys and girls soccer from around the state of Pennsylvania. Stay tuned. Welcome into this episode of In the Goal. As always, I'm joined by Jack, Kapp, Ryan. Great to see you back here again. Ryan, Haney. Fellas, we've got a lot of soccer to cover, but how are you doing tonight?
Everything's good. Exciting time of the year. Looking forward to the state playoffs, district and state playoffs.
I'm doing well. I'm glad to be back. Had a week off last week, so It's good to be here again.
We're sorry to hear about your loss to St. Joe's Prep. Tough to... We were really rooting for you here.
We're rooting for you
here at SFBN. But we're going to do things a little differently tonight. We're not going to start how we normally do things, covering teams and conferences. We're going to look at players from around the state of Pennsylvania. Most of them are pretty local. Just easier to get information on them. We're going to start with Kate Hennessy, a girl we have talked about quite a bit so far on the show, and she's had a great start to this season, or a great season as a whole. 39 goals this season. What else about her stood out to you?
Well, she had 38 goals as a junior, 39 goals as a senior, so she broke her own record, the record that she broke last year when she scored 38. She's a big, strong girl. She's very fast, trained by her father.
Really?
So she's trained by her dad. Her dad, Brian, owns a athletic training facility, Overachieve Sports and Speed.
Yeah, you can't ask for a better way to train than have your father be a professional at it.
And he was a very good athlete himself, as was her mother, so she comes from a pedigree, a good stock of athletic achievement. Her father played briefly in the NFL, and her mother was a basketball player, both at Bucknell. So Kate is very, very fast. She's very strong. She has a lot going for her in that. You have coached against her, I believe, right?
Yes, Kate is she's a Lansdale player, so she plays in the same league as Catholic League 3 years ago, her sophomore year.
And we're seeing her some of her video that was sent in.
I've seen Kate play a few times this year. Again, I just got word that they're going to be in the final again this year. So she's going for her third Catholic League final.
So
she just jumped in the air about 35 to 40 inches off the ground.
You had mentioned that she played defense her freshman year. So she scored 30 goals.
That's right.
In each of her 3 seasons playing offense. What was the coach thinking her freshman year playing defense?
That's an interesting question, Stephen.
She is an offense. I believe she scored 33 goals her sophomore year. So she's just been on a tear so far.
Right. So she's got approximately 110 goals. Yeah. She is again right in front of the goal there. She went with the left foot there. I think the keeper thought she was going to go right-footed. She scored 110 goals in 3 seasons. Coach, I mean, you have that situation sometimes where you get a player and you need a position filled, and you put somebody in there on defense sometimes when
her athleticism got her on the field as a freshman.
Right.
And then you see that she has a knack for the goal. She's a pure goal scorer. I mean, look at the way she turns her body, the way she uses her body around the goal. And then when she gets around, she's just slotting balls home, using the instep a lot. She's not using a lot of power there.
She looks very calm in front of, when she's in a goal scoring information.
Very composed around the net, which is a great thing to have.
Yeah, I mean, some people tend to speed things up when they're in the box, but if you can keep things, slow in your head and you're not rushing things, I mean, that's just makes scoring.
We're seeing her just beat 3 defenders there, went right through them like they were standing still, and then just buried it. Yeah, I think this is a cross to a chest. Look at this. Oh, I love that pass.
Great goal.
That's a great goal. Yeah. I don't know who she passed it to there, but that was a great goal. That was her assist.
I mean, she is clearly a talented player. As we've mentioned before, she's going to Bucknell.
She's headed for Bucknell.
Where's Bucknell?
It's a head, right? No, it's not a head. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Very talented player. But we are going to move on to Jackson Betcher out of Lower Dauphin. He has scored quite 89 goals in his career. Just
Yes,
a
he has.
tremendous player. What else about him has...
Well, he's got 209 points in his career also, so he's got a bunch of assists. He's a big, strong kid. I mean, he was a Division All-Star 3 straight years. He's been a Conference All-Star, Conference Player of the Year, All-State Player, a verbal commit to UMBC, which is the University of Maryland, Baltimore County. He's also been recognized as a Regional All-American 2016 and now as a National All-American in 2017. This is quite a player. He has a younger brother on the team, and this is the Lower Dauphin team that we've been discussing all year.
Yeah, I mean...
Which is a top level 3A team.
Yeah, I mean, they were in the Fab 50, the Pastoral Soccer Fab
here.
50 poll. You know, really, great expectations going into the season. And it's great to see
Undefeated last year.
Yeah, it's great to see him getting the national recognition and not only the regional.
They're all over him. He's a player that draws a lot of attention and has to be double teamed and triple teamed and surrounded quite often.
Yeah.
Yes, I mean, obviously a lot of talent around the goal and more composure as we're seeing around the goal, these scores and these stats. To be going to UMBC, who's been on the national,
That's right.
They've been in the tournament the last couple of years. They've made runs at some leagues. It's at the NCAA tournament. So to him to be at that level of the college Division I, we're not talking small D1. That's a pretty big Division I soccer program he's going to, which will be exciting to see how he does the next 4 years when he continues his career in college.
No, that's something we'll definitely look into. Keep looking at him throughout his career. We're going to move on to Casey Brown out of East Pennsboro.
It's actually, I think it's Cassie.
Cassie Brown?
I think it's Cassie Brown.
Cassie Brown?
Cassian is her real name.
It's
K-A-S-I-A-N. It's an unusual name.
I think Casey when I see it, but Cassie, you're probably right on that. She's been a 4-year starter at East Pennsboro, and she was a 2-time first All-Star in conference. So she's had a tremendous career at East Pennsboro.
And this is East Penn's year.
Yeah.
I mean, this is their year. Now that Trinity is in their division and in their conference, and Trinity has been the team to beat for the last 5 years, well, guess what? East Penn is now the team to beat.
Yeah, we've been talking about East Pennsboro for the past couple of weeks. Great to highlight a player coming out of them.
Yeah, she's a 4-year starter, 2-time first team All-Star for Mid-Penn, 26 goals, 17 assists this year. So big time point producer, winning goal, the golden goal in a major win against Cumberland Valley, a Quad A school. And she has 135 points in her career. Led the offense all year, and this is a team that is loaded up. I mean, Hannah Young plays for this team also, who's got 195 points in her career. So this is a team that is probably, I don't want to jinx them, but they're probably headed deep into the state playoffs. So I would not be surprised.
They're clearly a talented team. So.
They're going to be counting on her as they go on that run too.
Undefeated and unscored upon in division.
Yeah.
Still, I mean, they've been scored on 2 or 3 times by out-of-division teams, but in division, nobody scored on. And this is this is Cassie Brown, and we're looking forward to seeing more of her in the state playoffs.
Where is she leaning towards going to college?
She is leaning towards the great school of Drexel University, of which I am a graduate.
Oh.
So I'm very happy to hear that.
A dragon.
A dragon, yeah. How about that? Yeah, I played at Drexel briefly, and
we should note that she has not committed to Drexel, but she's leaning in that direction. Of course, minds can always be changed.
Yes.
Oh, I'll tell you one thing: if she goes to Drexel, she'll get a good education.
Yeah. We're going to move on a little closer to home to Gianna Costanzo out of Archbishop Ryan.
Yes.
Ryan, you're familiar with her.
The last 3 players we mentioned were all forwards.
Yep.
Gianna plays a different role on her Ryan team. She's a defensive midfielder. She sits in that pocket.
Would you call her a stopper? Is that a proper term?
So they don't really use that term because they're playing with flat floor.
Is that term old-fashioned now? Or?
Yeah.
Oh.
So she sits in front of the 4 backs,
Okay.
and her distribution out of that position is key. So she wins a lot of balls and gets the ball playing, but her late runs into the box when she arrives have been powerful. And she's been on the end of some big goals this year. The Lansdale goal to tie the game, the Hubert's goal to win it, the Little Flower goal to beat them 1-0. So she's been in like the box score.
The thick of it.
Yes.
So she's not a prolific scorer, but she comes through in the clutch for her team.
And that's the key. I mean, she makes some great late runs. And I watched them last night at practice as they're preparing. Right now they're playing Egan in the semifinals. And I'm just watching her spray the ball around, and then as everyone's drifting towards where the ball, she's sneaking into the box, and she's on the end of some crosses. She's on to some shots.
She's seeing the whole field.
Oh,
she's got great field vision.
Yes. And it's been a pleasure to watch her have this kind of year with coming off the injury.
She had a terrible injury as a sophomore.
Tore her ACL.
When you were the coach.
Yes.
Yeah.
Does she
Very early in the season. Couldn't have been much earlier. And she overcame that. She had 9 months of rehab, Stephen. And there she is right there. We see her on our screen right here.
Does she have potential to play at the next level, or is she?
I think she's local. I think it's a Division II type program, maybe a Westchester, maybe a Holy Family type in that range. But the injuries obviously maybe might have steered some people away. But the year she's having this year might have opened some eyes and brought some attention. Again, I mean, we'll have to see where she winds up. But she's a first-team All-Catholic. It probably was her first time on any ballots, and the coaches recognize her. So the league coaches know what she's doing. So people are seeing what she's been capable of, and hopefully we'll see her in the championship game on Sunday against Lansdowne.
Well, it's nice to identify a kid like this, someone who doesn't get the points and the scoring and so on. And something else about Gianna, she is number 8 of 400 in her class academically, an ambassador for Archbishop Ryan, National Honor Society. This is great stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the kind of kid you want to coach.
Yeah, that's a smart cookie right there.
It's a great kid, yeah.
We're going to stay at Archbishop Ryan, switch to the boys' side, and talk about a player who we've mentioned throughout the whole show, every show, you know, someone who's just had a great presence, and that's Will Stackhouse. I mean, he's been, not only a physical force, but, you know, he's also been able to come away with some goals this season.
Yeah, and I put down some of my thoughts, and I was identifying his attributes: sturdy, tough, physical, athletic, skillful, relentless. That's what I see when I see Will Stackhouse play. He's the kind of player that, as a coach, I would have loved to have had, and you had him.
Yes.
Yeah. So
I walked into. So I saw Will play as a freshman, as a starter. He was outside mid the year when the other prior coach used him, and I've just seen him develop in the 4 years. And the player he was this past season, especially towards the end of the season, and he had nothing to put his head down when he walked off the field against the Prep. Again, he'd have 2-3 guys on him. If you talk to the coach from Prep, he would say we shut down Will, but. And he created chances still. He was giving the ball up, making great, powerful runs.
There he is right there.
Again, his vision with and without the ball, and again, his will to win and his desire to win is unbelievable. It was such a pleasure to coach him.
Yeah. I mean, one thing that really impressed me about him was something we were talking about off the years, is just his maturation throughout the year. You know, really became a leader for this team, for your team down the stretch.
Good with the younger players, I'm assuming,
absolutely,
right?
And to see his
look
his
at the
growth.
desire on his face.
Again, he's texting me now, telling me some stuff, and then he's at the girls' game supporting the girls' team.
Supporting the girls' team. That's great.
And again, he's got some options. He's looking at a few schools. We talked to some small D1 schools, Temple, Mammoth. He's also Philly U, Holy Family.
That's a great school, Philly U. Yeah, and the Holy Family also. Stay local up at Grant and Frankfurt. This is a good little sequence where he.
This is an overtime. The first time he played him.
I forget. Is that what it is?
Yeah, it's an overtime. He takes a guy to the left.
Look at his form on this. Look at every inch of his body is being used, and he's right-footed, isn't he?
Yeah.
I think, right?
Yeah, he's a right-footed player.
Look at that.
He can go either way.
I mean, look at that left foot, Stephen. That's beautiful. Right?
Very powerful.
That goalie's in trouble. Look at the goalie's eyes here. I don't know if the folks at home can see the eyes, but that goalie knows he's in deep water there.
Yeah.
That's great stuff.
Having a player that can use both his feet really.
Yeah.
I mean, even professional players we see not being able to really strike with both their feet. So it is tremendous to have a player who's capable on both sides and isn't only trying to steer the ball into one side.
I remember I was watching you a couple weeks ago, and I think you called out to a player who didn't use the other foot, and you said something to the effect of, and that's why God gave you 2 feet. Yeah, that was funny. Yeah, that was good. Yeah, well, that's what it's about. I mean, and this kid uses everything he's got, every inch of his body, and all his strength and all his speed, and I wish him well in the future.
Well, we'll be right back here on In the Goal. We'll have some more breakdowns from around the conference tournaments. Stay tuned.
Hi, I'm Marty Bystrom, former pitcher for the Philadelphia Phillies. In my experience in Major League Baseball, I know how important it is for high school athletes to gain exposure. My friends at Payroll Service Solutions are huge supporters of high school sports and the Sports Fan Base Network. If you are a small to medium-sized business in need of a payroll company, contact Payroll Service Solutions. Not only will they take care of you, they will continue to support the community. For more information, contact Payroll Service Solutions at 215-624-0922 or 866-PAY.
Welcome back to In the Goal. We're going to start the second half with the PCL playoffs, and we're going to start on the boys' side. Again, sorry for your loss in the first round. You know, we hate to see that here at SFBN.
Do you want to talk about that game at all? Or, just briefly, at least.
I mean, so Prep and then us met on that Friday at Temple Stadium, which was a gorgeous facility. We had two great chances early in the first half, George and Will, and did not convert. Their goalie came up huge, the goalie we just saw.
Yeah.
Great saves, and in the second half, Prep put the pressure on us, and you just saw the goal coming. They got a goal of a free kick, and we were unable to bounce back. And again, my hat's off to Prep, Coyle, the coaching staff at St. Joe's. They put a great game plan together. And again, I got to watch them last night against LaSalle.
What a game.
The game
It's the
plan.
game of the year?
That was unbelievable.
It's a great game.
4 goals in the first 20 minutes, 2-2.
Yeah.
LaSalle goes up 1-0. Prep bounces back with 2 quick ones, goes up 2-1. LaSalle gets one to make it 2-2. Stays that way.
With defensive battle in the second half.
And the tactical approach by both coaches. They both got one guy up top. LaSalle had to make some adjustments. Their best player, one of their better players, Mittman, was out with an injury. So it's a first team All-Catholic, the first vote getter. He's sitting out, so that coach made some adjustments. Prep put a great game plan together, sat one guy up top and countered and really waited on some things and built out of the back. And both teams created chances. Goalies played well on both sides. And it comes down to the old kicks.
Yeah. A double overtime thriller coming down to kicks. And LaSalle's goalie, you were telling me, has not allowed a penalty kick in either semifinal game. He's
2 years in a row.
2 years in a row. 2 years in a row.
That's quite an achievement.
7 stopped PKs
That's
to put his team into the finals.
That's incredible.
2 years straight.
We've talked about him, 6'5", long, got everything you want in a goalie.
I'm sitting there, watching last night, and the intimidation of the first 2 shots. The first kid blew it over. The next shot, the kid pulls it wide. And then the next 2 he makes great saves on. Again, and the kid handled himself like a gentleman. He shook their hands. It was good sportsmanship by both sides. And again, hats off to him. And the goalie from Prep played great too. He had some great saves to get him there. And it's a tough way to lose. Unfortunately, they have to decide the game. And again,
it is a tough way to go out. It really is on the PKs.
It is a tough way, but LaSalle's best player, or one of their best players, came through in that moment, whereas Prep had an opportunity to score and had an opportunity to come back or to get the win, but unfortunately they weren't. It is a tough way, but LaSalle did their job, and Prep was unable to come up with the win.
Really, LaSalle's been the best team all year,
hands down.
Yeah, so
they're beating everybody. And again, Prep goes on this late run. I don't think they start any more than 2 or 3 seniors on that roster.
Really?
So to look ahead in the future, next year I know Coach Coyle is very excited about where the Prep direction's going. And again, we'll see LaSalle play Sunday in the final.
Yeah, that is right. LaSalle versus Roman.
It was a 1-0 win for Roman up against Archbishop Wood.
That's right.
Just a good game by Roman.
Back and forth. Wood was looking for the counterattack. Didn't really work out well. They couldn't break their defense. Roman's defense really played well. Kept them in front of them most of the night, and got a goal from a back. Steps up on it, and gets the goal for Roman. Puts them into the final, which is a repeat of last year's championship game. So we'll see Roman play LaSalle for the 2nd year in a row. This is Roman's 4th consecutive championship appearance.
Right? Yeah.
They have won 1, so hopefully they're not the Buffalo Bills. Of,
they won in 2015 in 2015.
We'd hate to see that. We're going to move on to the girls' side.
It's exciting stuff.
The semifinal games are happening one semifinal game is probably about to end. That's Archbishop Wood versus Lansdale Catholic. We'll probably get the results in
I have it on my phone. It is official. It is over. Lansdale won 3-2.
Really?
I do not have any stats. I just know Lansdale pulled it out. It was 2-2 late. It looks like Lansdale either won in overtime or under the last 10 minutes. Against Lansdale's now in the championship for the 3rd straight year in a row.
Good for them.
They have not won a Catholic League title yet since coming into the Catholic League.
That's right. This would be the first one.
Yeah. And they were opponent for. We went against them a few times, so I know Coach Tom is hoping to get one this year, and he's got his goal scorer up top, healthy and ready to go.
Well, but Lansdale Catholic will find out who they're playing later tonight. Game starts at 7:30, and that's between Conwell Egan and Archbishop Ryan, a game we're all looking forward to. Ryan has been a great team, just like Lansdale Catholic, all year long.
That's right. Number one, undefeated.
And this is Egan's first semifinal in a long time in that school history.
They beat St. Hubert's to get into it. So,
huge upset.
Yeah. That was a big upset. The Bambies were not happy about that.
Ryan had a scare in the quarters. I don't know if you guys saw this.
Let's see here. Yeah, they went to PKs, didn't they? Hallahan.
Yes.
That would have been a shocker. Really.
Hallahan
that only won 4 games.
I was at that game. Ryan hit 7 posts.
Wow.
7 posts during the game.
Oh my.
Hallahan had a shot in overtime to win it. Went on a breakaway. The kid just missed it wide. A great run. And then Ryan pulled it out in PKs.
So nobody scored at all during the game?
No.
It was nil.
Very defensive battle.
Wow.
So I'm curious to see how Ryan rebounds. It's been 5 or 6 nights now since they played.
Yeah, it's a full.
And you should get to see that game, I think.
Trying to rush there.
We're going to get you out during the next break so Coach goes to see some of his old players and his counterparts on the girls' side here.
We're going to move on to District 1 playoffs, both on the boys and girls' side. Kapp, what teams have really moved on and played well so far?
Let's take a look very quickly. We'll go through it very quickly. We're up to the quarterfinals now. So in the single A boys, Faith Christian, Church Farm, Plumstead Christian, and Dock Mennonite are the 4 remaining teams standing, and that's where the single A stands. They play Monday, October 30th. So that's coming up. Now the 2A has not really started yet.
Okay.
Because there's not that much participation from 2A teams, so these will be filled in. They're going to have 2 teams from District 12 coming in. That hasn't actually been determined yet as to who. District 12 is the city of Philadelphia, obviously. Has not been determined as to who those teams would be, but New Hope and Lower Moreland are the teams representing District 1 in the regional combo. So these are going to be considered state games, I believe.
Yes.
If that's the right terminology.
They have to play in to get in. I believe Lansdale's involved in this. And there's a public league school. I'm not really sure which team it is. I should know this. I apologize.
Could be Furness. I'm not sure. Masterman, possibly, or are they single A? I don't remember. But 2 teams are going to come out of District 12.
Lansdale's looking very good right now.
And that's TBD, as we say in the business. To be determined.
Lansdale took Rome into shootouts in the quarters.
Might have
and could have won that game. Lansdale played really well at the end of the season. Lansdale tied LaSalle, tied us, beat Judge, and then took Rome into PKs in the quarters. So they're a hot team right now going into the state playoffs.
That's a nice time to be hot. Now the 3A tournament, there was a play-in game, Marple Newtown against Pope John Paul II, and then PJP 2, Pope John Paul II, won that game 2-1 and moved on. And guess who they get? Holy Ghost.
So they played that game today. And I just got it right.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's played today at 3
coach
p.m.
just texted me.
So we...
1-1 at halftime. He made some adjustments.
Ready?
7-1 final.
Wow.
Ghost.
Holy Ghost.
Yeah, well, I kind of figured it was going to go that way. Holy Ghost is ranked top 40 in the country.
Yes.
I think they're 38.
Now. Nikasi Graham, he had a hat trick. To put them through to the next round.
I remember seeing him when you played against them. Yeah.
So
Holy Ghost takes
the winner of these
John Paul #2, who I actually met one time. I actually met the Pope. I actually did. I was a photographer and I met him. Radnor versus Harriton. The winner of that will play Holy Ghost. So we're going to put HGP right in here, moving up, and that happens on Monday. This coming Monday. HTP will play the winner of Radnor Harriton. Shanahan is playing Pottsgrove, and Phoenixville is playing Upper Merion to close out the boys 3A bracket there. And then we move on to the 4A, which is much more participated in. They're much more voluminous there. Top team there is Conestoga. We've been talking about them all year. Lower Merion is #2. Second seed, that is North Penn's 3, and Hatboro Horsham is 4. So there's some really, really top teams in this. Conestoga is going against Owen J. Roberts. That would be tonight. It's 7 o'clock.
These are all being played today?
They are battling it out right now. Unionville, Perk Valley, Kennett versus Hatboro Horsham. W.C. Henderson, which was a great team in 2016. They're number 5 seed versus Penwood. Lower Merion, PW. That's a good game. CB West and CB East. Oh, I love that.
Interrival.
That's always a good one. North Penn and CRN. Yeah, that's also a good game. So CRN is coming in as the 12th seed. Yes. Surprised that they're that low, but North Penn is number 3, and Springford Wissahickon fills that out. That's all being played today and tonight. I think most of those games are at 7 p.m. There's one at 5:30.
Good old local Hatboro Horsham's hanging around, having a great season.
Yeah. Yes, they are. Yeah, Hatboro Horsham and Council Rock North having a good season, and they may surprise North Penn.
Yeah.
Maybe not. But anyway, so that's the boys bracket for District 1.
Let's move on to the girls bracket.
We can talk about the girls here. So let's get them lined up here. And here's the girls bracket. So let's start. We'll go in the same order we just did. So the single A is being played Monday, and that's going to be Calvary Christian Friends Select Christian Academy and Doc Mennonite. Nothing on that right now. That's not till Monday, so we're going to move right into the 2A, which is a combo, again, District 1 and District 12 combined, because there's not enough 2A schools, and that's the way they do it.
The winner of this will go to the state tournament.
That's right. One team goes to the state tournament, so in that right now, the 2 games have already been determined there. St. Basil's will play for Ness, which is a South Philadelphia high school. It used to be a junior high school when I was a kid. Masterman will play. Masterman is the academic school in Center City, Philly, down at 17th and Spring Garden. They play New Hope. So those are the 2 semifinal games, and out of that, you'll have a champion, and one team will go to the state, and that's it. 3A. You have Village O Marie, which is number 1, of course, and they play Phoenixville. Villa Maria, not to be confused with Village O Marie, plays Lower Moreland. PJP 2, Pope John Paul II plays Gwynedd. Sun Valley plays Pencrest. Pencrest is the 2nd seed, I assume, and that's a pretty good tournament. 3A levels, very competitive, and we probably will see most likely Pencrest and Village O Marie coming out of that. Most likely, but we don't want to take anything away from the other teams. And then we move on to the big schools, which is the 4A level, and of course there's many more of them. But Penn Ridge is ranked number 1. Penn Ridge is coming in as a 1 seed. O.J. Roberts is number 2. And Pennsbury number 3, and Unionville 4, Conestoga girls are number 5. So there's a bunch of different matchups in there. Unfortunately, we will not see Downingtown West, Downingtown East, which I saw earlier in the season. It's a great, great battle, but D West was eliminated. So by CB East will now play CR South, and Downingtown East gets Pennsbury. So we're looking forward to a bunch of good games there, and we'll know next week who will emerge. Those games are being played today also. And then there's some games Saturday.
Yeah.
For the 4A girls, and then Wednesday and Saturday. And 5 teams move to the States.
Yes. You want to get into the Elite 8. You qualify in Elite 8, then the 5, 6, 7, and 8 have a little playoff to be the 5th seed.
Oh, that's
1,
right.
2, 3, 4 guaranteed into the state tournament.
So they get a play-in game for the States then?
Yes. So
that's right.
When we get to this, when we get to these 8.
So that's pretty important then.
Yes.
You get to that 8 and you still have an opportunity to play in the States.
You get to the 4,
yeah.
You're in the States. Yeah. And we've seen teams come out of District 1 as a 3rd seed or a 4th seed go on to win state titles.
Yeah, that's right.
So you never know.
All right.
That's correct.
Before we go to break, we are going to cover the Philly Public League. Kapp, you were at this game, Northeast versus Washington.
I was there, yeah.
In the semifinal, yeah. Northeast comes away with the victory.
Northeast looked really powerful, Stephen.
Did they?
Yes, they did.
Powerful.
5-0?
It was 5-0, and then they pulled the keeper, that big guy there. How do you say his name? Jemenko, I think it is. I probably mispronounced it, but Gimeno. I'm sorry, Sebastian Gimeno, and they pulled him out. He is gigantic. I mean, he's got to be 6'3", 6'4", 220, and he was not tested at all.
Yeah.
They pulled him out in the 65th minute, and right away Washington scored. So it was a 5-1 final, but it was really truly a blowout and a shutout. Alejandro Giraldo is back. He was injured for a number of weeks. He's a kid I've met a few times, a real nice kid. We talked about him on a previous episode. He scored 2 goals, and he was assisted by his buddy Christian Oliveira on both goals. And let me tell you, Alejandro can place the ball.
Yes.
He can place the ball. He's a nice player.
Very skilled, very technical.
skilled.
He
Yeah.
got hurt against us.
Is that when he got hurt?
Yes.
So it's been a while. I don't know exactly when he came back, but I was very impressed by him.
He's been banged up all year, so he's probably playing and not at 100%. And
Right.
he's very crafty with the ball.
He looked really good. His placement again is just
And if your supporting cast is
Yeah.
Siddiqui
had a goal.
Yeah, Northeast is loaded.
They
with
are
talent.
loaded, and they're still missing a couple of players. I know this one fella is out with a head injury, and he's been out the whole season. I spoke to him
Athleticism,
earlier.
again. It's going to be a great match to see Northeast play LaSalle or Roman for the District 12.
It should be interesting. Now Northeast has to get past Central.
Oh.
We'll talk about the boys' pub because Northeast again beat Washington, but Central beat FTC for the other semifinal. So the only game Northeast has lost all season was against Central, and it was a 1-0 game.
Okay.
This is one of the oldest rivalries in the world. Mm-hmm. It might be the oldest public league rivalry. It's over 100 years old.
The public league finals being played?
It's being played Saturday, 10/28 at 3 p.m., and it will be at the South Philly Super Site. I don't know why. Well, I guess it would be
Northeast
fair because it's a neutral. Mm-hmm. It's a neutral site then. Yeah.
So 3 o'clock on Saturday. Those two teams will battle for.
I don't think I can make it because I have something else, but I would love to see that game. Now, Northeast is coached by a what we call a triumvirate. 3 guys, you know that, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
The father and the son, the Feldmans, and then there's a third coach, and I don't know him that well. His name is Ashley Johnson, and he's very active verbally during the game. Mm-hmm. I mean, he is really, really involved, and I could tell he knows his game.
He's very animated.
So, yeah,
he
very
knows
animated.
soccer.
Yeah.
Him and I got to meet when we played them earlier this season. We were... I got to talk to those guys and the father and son combination, which I think is great.
It is great.
Again, the things they're doing at Northeast is remarkable.
Well, this is if they get to this is the 6th straight year they're in the championship.
Yes.
And if they win the public league championship, it will be the 4th straight year.
It's amazing.
It really is, yeah. And they have an opportunity to move on.
Last year they had a 1-goal loss to LaSalle.
That's right.
In the District 12 final, so we'll see. And in 2 years prior, they beat Roman 4-1.
They beat Roman, and they lost to Wood just barely the year before that.
So
they had a 2-0 lead against Wood.
That's very impressive.
Yeah. It really is very impressive. It's one of the better teams that I've ever seen at Northeast. Okay.
I mean, yeah, they've looked great all year.
Yes, they have.
Ryan, thank you for joining us here tonight. We love having you on the show.
You.
Wish we could keep you for the rest of it.
I'll text you guys.
Yeah, let us know.
If there's any early
Anybody
scores still live.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me again. I look forward to next week, and I'll
We'll
make
be
sure
here
to come
next
back.
week.
We'll start talking state playoffs.
Right. Yep. Enjoy the game tonight. Yeah.
We'll go to a quick commercial break. When we get back, we're going to cover District 3 playoffs on both the boys and girls side. Stay tuned.
Hey, you.
Who, me?
Yes, you. You like pro sports?
Yeah,
You like college sports?
of course.
You like high school sports?
I guess.
Maybe you just don't know much about them.
Hey, voice in the sky.
Huh?
Where can I go to learn more about Philadelphia area high school athletics?
Just watch Varsity Voice every Wednesday on Facebook Live at 7 p.m.
Hi, I'm Tommy Green, former pitcher for the Philadelphia Phillies. When I was in high school, it was very important to me to show scouts what I could do. My friends at Payroll Service Solutions are huge supporters of high school sports and the Sports Fan Base Network. If you're a small to medium-sized business in need of a payroll company, contact Payroll Service Solutions. Not only will they take care of you, they will continue to support the community. For more information, contact Payroll Service Solutions at 215-624-0922 or 866-PAY-EASY.
Pennsylvania is a big state, and there's great high school football action happening each week to discuss.
Let's deep. Got a man. Touchdown.
Join me, Richie Bleiweiss, and my fellow analysts, Corey Sharp and Mike Palmer, on In the Trenches on the Sports Fan Base Network. In the Trenches, the only show dedicated to all 12 PIAA districts in Pennsylvania, coming to you every Monday live on Facebook. Tune in for information, stats, analysis, and some great previews and predictions. Be sure to submit questions and comments using hashtag #InTheTrenches or comment live during the show. So be sure to watch In the Trenches on the SFBN for all you need to know about high school football in the Keystone State. I'm Richie Bleiweiss, reminding you, stay classy, and be good to each other.
Welcome back to In the Goal. I misspoke earlier. We are going to cover District 1, or the pub girls side. Yes,
Yeah,
I forget.
yeah.
I mistakenly skipped them.
Nah, it's all right. We can always come back
We'll go
with
through
them.
their standing, or through their playoffs. So what teams are doing well right now?
All right, so let's talk Girls Public League in the city of Philadelphia, District 12. They play out their own tournament, and then they determine who goes where based on classifications. So Central got the bye because, frankly, the team that they were going to play folded.
Really?
Yeah, so Central got a bye, and Olney beat Bodine. So Central played Olney. Central beat Olney. E&S played Furness. Furness came out of there. Frankfurt played Masterman. Masterman came out of that. And then Masterman has the opportunity now to play, and it's being played. In fact, it's over.
Yeah.
It's over. Central and Masterman. I'm assuming that Central will beat Masterman.
Yeah. We'll find out.
And again, I was told a long time ago, never assume anything, but Central's a very powerful team. Masterman's a 2A team. And
We thought the Bambies were going to come away with a win.
we did think that. There's always been upsets. I mean,
That's why you
that's
play
right.
the game.
Villanova beat Georgetown in 1985.
Yeah.
I'm sure you remember that.
Yes, I remember it fondly. 10 years before I was born.
Basketball, that is, and
I've
biggest
seen
upset.
the videos.
Hey, Mike Tyson got knocked out.
Yeah.
I saw that. I saw it live, and nobody expected that, right?
Right.
I mean, you may have seen that in your lifetime.
I've seen the videos.
You've seen the knockout.
Yeah.
Now, nobody would have ever called that.
No.
Right? So we don't know. This is Central versus Masterman, and if you go to the other side now, String Theory, which is one of the great names for a high school. String
Absolutely.
Theory. No one knows what that means exactly, but String Theory played PAX.
Yeah.
PAX is a charter school. In fact, it's the first charter school. Kensington played Northeast. Northeast came out of there. Now, this is an interesting thing because Northeast had the game set up against Kensington. Opening round, Kensington couldn't get a bus.
Yeah.
So they played the game the next day when Kensington was able to. This happens a lot in the public league,
Yeah.
where they cannot get the bus schedules properly arranged. So what happened was the Kensington game was played the next day, and Northeast won that 8-1. They walked away with it.
Yeah.
Okay, but what that led to was a doubleheader basically, because the very next day they had to play PAX, which is a
that's
really tough team. And the coach, I spoke to the coach, Coach Soros, really nice guy. And his second game in 2 days, the girls were exhausted. They couldn't recover. And they had a lot of chances in the first half, but then they
weren't able.
They ran out of gas. He
Yeah.
said they just ran out of steam. And he can't blame them. I mean, look, they're 2 big games in 2
Playing
days.
back-to-back games at
So
any
they lost.
level is really tough. I mean,
was
for
tough, it was tough,
anybody.
right.
I mean, you see NBA players are complaining about playing
Somebody
back-to-back.
named Joel Embiid,
Yeah.
he can't go 2 days in a row.
No.
It's not his choice. But anyway, so Northeast lost to PAX. Northeast had a good season, not quite as good as their boys' side, but the girls are okay.
Yep.
Now you move down, so PAX moves out of there into the semifinals, and I think they're being played right now also. That's 7 o'clock. PAX is playing FTC. Now, how did FTC get there? FTC is Franklin Town Charter, powerhouse in girls soccer in Philadelphia.
Right.
So we had Rush playing girls high, SLA, which is Science Leadership Academy, playing FTC. Two charter schools. FTC took that game pretty easily and moved on. Girls high, which I mentioned last week. My mom went to girls high and graduated in 1946.
Yeah.
So I called up my mother and I said, guess what, Mom?
Girls High's doing something.
Girls high soccer is having the best season maybe of any girls high school team in history. And girls high has been around 150 years.
Yeah.
Okay, so my mother was really excited. I told her all about it. She knows nothing of sports, but she was excited, and she's going to try to mention it in her newsletter. So girls high beat Rush, and that might be their first district playoff win in ever.
Yeah.
I don't know. In a while. They were undefeated.
Yeah.
So they were 14-0 at that point, which is quite an accomplishment. Unfortunately, they played
FTC.
the powerhouse, FTC, and it was 8-0. So GHS, Girls High School, has been eliminated.
That's unfortunate.
Unfortunate for them. 8 separate girls scored for FTC.
That's incredible.
8 goals, 8 separate girls.
It's better to see that than to see one player have 4 or 5 goals.
Those are my buddies, the girls from FTC. when they see me, they always report what's happening to me, and they saw me at the Northeast boys game, so I got into the stands, I started taking notes, and then they came in and they said, "Do you remember us?" I said, "Yes, I do.
Of course.
You're the FTC ladies, that's right." So anyway, that's the story on the Public League girls. And now this is interesting, the classification championships gets a little muddled, it gets a little complex, Stephen. So PACs will represent the single A level.
Okay.
Because they're the only ones that made it through to the semifinals here. So they will play the PCL to be announced team. There's two teams we mentioned earlier, Masterman and Furness will get an opportunity to play a state game. Okay. The play-in game for the 3A is Rush versus Frankfurt, and then the city championship will be played against a PCL team to be determined.
Right.
And the same thing with the 4A, although we don't know who the 4A representative is because that has to be played out. So most likely it's going to be, it's going to be Central or FTC, I would think.
Yeah.
Almost, in fact, it has to be. One of those two will get to play against the PCL #1 ranked team.
Right.
And that's how it works for Girls Pub.
Okay. Let's move on to District 3.
Let's cover District 3.
Yeah. Big district.
It is a big district, and we've been talking about them all year.
Yes, we have.
So it's kind of interesting. You want to do boys first?
Yeah, let's go with boys first.
Okay, let's go with boys first. So we have the 1A tournament, and Camp Hill is the defending state champions. Now we've been through. This is now 2 rounds have passed
There were a couple
since last week already. Right. So we had Camp Hill had a bye.
Yep.
They played the winner of West Shore Christian and York Catholic.
Yeah.
So let's see who came out of there. Christian Academy. Okay.
Yep. And then Camp Hill beat them to move on.
Yeah, Camp Hill has moved on.
Yes.
So Camp Hill is playing Millersburg in the semifinals, October 28th, Saturday.
Yes.
That part I have correct.
Yes.
Okay. And down on the other side, coming out into the semifinals, Lancaster County Christian playing Greenwood. So we have those 4 teams in the semifinals for the single A.
Yep.
We're talking boys now.
Yes, we are.
Okay.
Moving on to...
We are talking 2A boys now, okay? Lancaster Mennonite against Trinity Tupelhocken.
Yeah.
Okay, I have my pronunciation corrected.
Yes.
It is Tupelhocken playing Biglerville, Ole Valley playing Lancaster Catholic, Wyomissing playing Middletown, which ended up 13-4-1. Okay, Middletown we've been talking about all season.
Yes, we have.
One of their better seasons in a couple years since I guess 2 years ago. They play Wyomissing. That's all being played on Saturday. Those are quarterfinals, by the way.
Yes.
Also in the 3A,
Yeah.
we have quarterfinals. So we have Lower Dauphin, which is the team we've been mentioning all season. And we talked about Ryan. We talked about Jackson Betcher earlier. Well, his little brother Ryan Betcher, who's a junior, scored 2 goals in the first half of the playoff game against Berks Catholic, which was a pretty good team coming out of the Reading area, Berks County League. Jackson had the other goal in the game, so they ended up 3-0, and it was the Betcher boys that scored all the goals. So Lower Dauphin gets the opportunity to play Fleetwood. Hershey plays Gettysburg. Susquehannock, not Susquehanna, but Susquehannock plays Mannheim Central. Greencastle Antrim goes against Lampeter Strasburg.
Oh.
And that is, I believe, the correct way to say that. Lampeter Strasburg. Okay, so those are all quarterfinals, and they take place right now.
Yeah.
We'll have to check the Twitterverse.
Yes, we will.
For results on some of those games. Hershey, if Hershey comes out of there and plays Lower Dauphin, that would be another opportunity for Lower Dauphin to revenge an early season non-win. They have already beaten Hershey in the second game of their division play. Susquehannock and Mannheim Central and Greencastle, Antrim, and Lampeter Strasburg, as we mentioned, are the other quarterfinalists. They're all being played right now. Moving on to the 4A boys, you have Central York playing Cumberland Valley. Central York coming in at 19-2. They are ranked #1, so they are the first seed. Wilson versus Ephrata. Central Dauphin versus Chambersburg, and Hempfield versus Southwestern. Those games are quarterfinals. They will be played on Saturday. They are the 4A teams. Those are the big boys. And 3 teams advance to the PIAA championship. So the final 2 teams, and then there'll be, as Coach Ryan was explaining, there'll be a little playoff to get that 3rd spot.
Yep. What about the girls in District 3? What matchups really have
Okay.
stood out to you?
Let's see if we can find the girls here. Okay, get past those boys. Here we go. So, okay, let's start with the smaller schools.
Let's just focus on one matchup, right, from each district or each level.
Okay.
Which level from, or which matchup from?
So let's look at the single A now. Camp Hill, which ended their season at 12-7, actually 11-7. Then they picked up the first round playoff victory versus New Covenant Christian. They'll be going against Harrisburg Christian. Harrisburg Christian ended up 15-2, and it is the second seed. So actually, Harrisburg Christian has the advantage there. A great season for them, and going against Camp Hill, a traditional power in the small girls schools. That's a game you want to look at. That's actually a semifinal game.
Yeah.
Okay, top two teams advance. So the ones that are eliminated here do not advance to the state playoffs. The ones that win this game move to the state playoffs. Fairfield plays Mount Calvary in the other game.
In the 2A level, they're in the quarterfinals right now.
Yeah.
Which matchup in the quarterfinals really sticks out to you?
This is probably the most interesting matchup. Is Trinity, the three-time defending state champions, 5 times in the state championship game.
Right.
This is a team with a great recent legacy, but they went 11-6-1 this season, so they're down a little bit. They're the 4th seed in this, and they get to play, see if I can pronounce this now, Pequea Valley.
Okay.
Pequea Valley, okay? Coming in as the 5 seed. So it's 4 seed versus 5 seed. That's an interesting matchup.
It is.
I mean, if Trinity were able to come out of this and push their way into the final game, they get another opportunity to pass into the states. And who knows where they're going to go after that with the history that they have at Trinity.
Right.
Moving on to the 3A.
3A. Another one or two. I mean, 3A is bigger than 2 matchups from the 3A that are really.
Let's look at the team we were talking about.
Really look into.
The team we've been talking about all year, which is East Pennsboro.
Yep.
20-0.
Yeah.
I mean, just an incredible season for East Pennsboro. They really, really dominated and showed that they're probably, if not the best team, one of the best teams. They did not get the number 1 seed. Fleetwood got it.
Really?
Fleetwood finished at 18-1, so that power ranking system is very complex, but obviously Fleetwood had the edge on East Penn. So East Penn comes in at 20-0 after their victory over Twin Valley. They get to play Manheim Central. Interesting game. Manheim Central, number 10 seed, 12-6. But they have some strengths, and East Pennsboro is going to have to play a good game to get past them. The Northern York team and Lampeter Strasburg, that's a good team. Northern York is the 3 seed, and Lampeter is the 6 seed. So that's an interesting game. The winner probably will be Northern York, so you're probably going to see East Penn versus Northern York in the semifinals. And those are the two good games right there. That's the 3A girls.
Yeah. Let's move on to the Quad A.
And the 4A girls.
Yeah.
Cumberland Valley, top team.
Yeah.
Very, very good team. 19-1, number 1 seed. They beat Chambersburg to get into the quarterfinals. They will be playing Governor Mifflin, which finishes 16-5-1, and Governor Mifflin is the 9th seed. They beat Mechanicsburg to get into the quarterfinals, and their reward was to face Cumberland Valley, which is a really, really good program. Manheim Township plays Wilson. Central Dauphin plays Central York. Conestoga Valley, which has had a great season at 18-2-1. Conestoga Valley, not to be confused with Conestoga. Number 3 seed is playing Ephrata. And these games are taking place Saturday, October 28th, just 2 days from right now. And that's where we stand there with District 3. Exciting tournament.
Yeah.
Looking forward to finding out who wins and who loses.
Yeah, should be some great matchup on both the boys and the girls side.
That's right.
We're going to move on to the rankings. We're going to start with the PSCA rankings, focusing in on Pennsylvania. And for the boys side, it's about what we'd expected, very similar to what it has been.
It hasn't changed all that much.
No,
Yeah.
Conestoga still leads the way. Peters Township right behind them.
That's right.
Parkland, Holy Ghost Prep, Lower Dauphin, LaSalle, Northwestern Lehigh, Erie Cathedral Prep, and then two teams that got into the top 10 were honorable mentions last week: Elizabethtown and Susquehannock. So I mean, making entrances into the top 10. These are the large schools.
Yep.
But the top 8 remain the same. No change there.
Yeah, Lower Merion was knocked out of the top 10. They got an honorable mention, and probably because they lost to Conestoga, I would think. Central York was number 10, and now they're honorable mention. But I mean, they're still in the thick of it. But Conestoga is still up at the top there. Peters Township, which is out in District 7, took a few notes on them. They're probably the top team coming out of District 7.
Yeah.
McMurray, Pennsylvania, 17-0-2 is their record this season. They have not allowed 2 goals in a match since the first weekend of the season.
That's some defenses clamped down.
Yeah, they're number 1 seed in the 4A, the Quad A, in the WPIAL, the WPIAL tournament, District 7, which surrounds the city of Pittsburgh. Right. The city of Pittsburgh itself does not have great soccer, but the surrounding area in District 7 has some very good programs, of which Peters Township is probably number 1.
Right.
So.
And we're gonna stay on the boys, and we're gonna move to top drawer soccer on their Fab 50 poll.
Okay.
Conestoga has led the way all year long outside of the preseason poll.
That's right.
They are still number 3 in the nation.
That's right.
Doing a great job. They beat Lower Merion last week 2-0. Have just preserved their place. They were number 1 in the nation, but they've fallen off. But one team that has moved into the top 15 is Peters Township.
We just mentioned them.
Yeah,
Yep.
they're number 11 in this ranking system. So 2 teams in the top 15 for the state of Pennsylvania. It's a pretty gosh darn good job.
Actually, there's Parkland coming out of Allentown is number 9.
Oh,
am I seeing that correctly?
Yes, you are.
Parkland has been moving all year.
Yes, they have.
The first time we noticed them, they were at 27. They moved to 19 to 12, and now they're at number 9. Parkland in Allentown, PA, 21-0-0, Stephen. Yeah. So they have a great player. Let's see what we have here. I'm sorry, I have the record wrong. I'm giving the girls record. They are the team. They're the school that has both a great boys program and a great girls program. So let me give the correct record. It is 21-0. Their girls team is 21-0-0.
Yeah.
It's so close. They ended their season, the boys, with victories. 2 victories, 4 players scored. Only loss of the season was to South Kent School of Connecticut, which was in another poll number 1.
Right.
Prep top 10. Now that's a prep school.
Yeah.
So that's a different kind of a program here, but that's a big time season.
Yeah.
21-0. 20 wins, 1 loss. 0 ties.
Absolutely. And we're going to move on to the girls' side. We're going to start with the PSCA, focusing on Pennsylvania. Parkland, number 1. Moon, right behind them. Manheim Township. Norwin is back up and getting back up there, number 4. East Pennsboro is number 5. Conestoga Valley, followed by Cumberland Valley. Then Pennsbury, Village O'Marie, and Fleetwood round out the top 10. And unlike the boys' side, a lot of movement,
Yeah, it appears that way.
Manheim, Norwin all moved up. So did East Pennsboro. Conestoga Valley and Cumberland Valley fell. Pennsbury came in from the honorable mention, while Village O'Marie switched spots with Fleetwood with 9th and 10th.
Like you said, there is a lot of movement going on in there on the girls' side. Parkland, what can we say about them? We just mentioned where I got the records mixed up, but just to clarify, 21-0-0 for Parkland. In Allentown, PA, Brooke Shooter is their big player. She's involved in everything. She was a part of 4 or 5 goals in the last week and wins over Emmaus and Easton.
Yeah.
And scored 3 goals and had an assist.
Yeah. Well, if we look at the Fab 50 poll on top drawer soccer, Moon and Parkland are both in the top 25.
Yes,
Moon is ranked 21st, while Parkland leads the way for Pennsylvania at 16th. So both the boys and the girls side very well represented in
probably more than any other state.
And I missed another school in the top 25 for girls. Pennsbury is ranked 23rd in the nation.
They are. Pennsbury went from not ranked to 28th. Now they're up to 23rd.
Yeah.
Pennsbury out of Levittown, PA, with only one loss during the season.
Doing it.
I mean, you're looking at Norwin, East Pennsboro, Owen J. Roberts, Pennsbury, Moon, Conestoga, Episcopal, CRS, Council Rock South, Cumberland Valley, and Parkland, all from Pennsylvania, have all spent time in the top 50 this year, and a bunch of them still in the top 50. Pennsylvania doing very well in the national scene.
We're going to take a quick break here. We'll be back with our final thoughts for the night. Stay tuned here on In the Goal. Welcome back here on Varsity, or In the Goal. I'm just thinking about our other shows here on the SFBN.
Well, we're on the Varsity Voice.
We are.
set
We
right
are.
now.
You know,
That's right. We're stealing their set.
So, what are some of your final thoughts for?
Well, I wanted to recognize some of the teenagers here, some of the players that have been named All-Americans. I mean, this is a big honor to be an All-American. Conestoga midfielder Nick Jennings. We've talked about him a little bit during the season. Very solid player, and he is committed to Lehigh. Okay,
Smart
Lehigh
guy.
University. Yeah, smart guy. Lehigh is a great engineering school and just great academics all around, and very high-level soccer also. Lower Dauphin, we talked about this young man before. In fact, very early in the show, Jackson Betcher, an All-American out of Lower Dauphin in District 3. Let's see who else from this area. North Allegheny High School, I don't know the young man, but his name is Josh Lucini or Lucchini. What would you say?
I'd go Lucini.
Lucini in America, back in Italy, it's Lucchini, I think.
Yeah,
but
probably.
okay. So he's here. He's from North Allegheny High School, and he's an All-American. So this is a big deal. 3 young men from this area being named All-Americans.
Yeah.
Betcher is committed, we mentioned earlier, to University of Maryland at Baltimore County. And it's just a great thing for this area to have these young men recognized. On the girls' team, Penn Charter, which is a school we don't get to talk about much because it's part of the Interact League, and they're not really part of the PIAA, so we don't follow them that closely. But Giovanna DeMarco was recognized as an All-American. She's a midfielder out of Penn Charter, which is a 300-year-old high school down in East Falls, I guess you would call it. Manheim Township forward Allison Heckman. I don't know much about Allison, but we congratulate Allison on her achievement. Maybe we'll look into her a little bit next week.
Right.
And Germantown Academy, also a part of the Interact, a very famous school, part of the Interact, and great program. This name I do recognize, midfielder Mackenzie Pluck. We've heard her name over the years, and she is an All-American player coming out of Germantown Academy. DeMarco is committed to Wake Forest. Heckman, the player out of Manheim Township, to James Madison, a first Division I school, and Pluck is going to Duke.
Yeah.
So not only is she a great player, all 3 of these players, great players, but all 3 of them going to top academic universities. Congratulations.
Well, thank you for being here tonight, Jack. We appreciate it. Our viewers appreciate your knowledge that you bring to
Glad to be here.
our coverage of boys and girls soccer around the state of Pennsylvania. Just for our viewers, I appreciate each and every one of you tuning into our show. And just as a reminder, check out our website, thesfbn.com, for great information on boys and girls soccer, but also on football and other sports around the state of Pennsylvania. Also, tune into our other shows, Varsity Voice, great show, watched it many times, have had a great time watching it, highly recommend. When I was sitting here, I was just thinking, oh gosh, I want to be on Varsity Voice.
There's nobody better than Ari Bluestein when it comes to
isn't.
interviews and general knowledge. He's the best.
He is the best.
Yep.
Our other show, In the Trenches, hosted on Monday nights. A great group of guys hosting it, do a great job breaking down football.
Yes, they do.
From around the state of Pennsylvania. If you missed us here, you can watch our podcast. It's on iTunes, or you can watch us on YouTube. That's all I got tonight. What about you, Kapp? Anything else?
Well, I am looking forward to the next couple of weeks. I'll be out of town the last week. I think you guys are going to have to Skype with me.
Yeah, something. We got to have you on the show.
When the season ends, when the state championships are played, I will be in Florida.
We got to have a perfect attendance record for you.
Yeah, that would be. You'd have to Skype me in, but you have to teach me how to do it.
Well, we'll figure it out. But thank you for tuning in, and thank you for being here. Have a great night, and tune in next week here on In the Goal.
Excellent.